And we're back at it here in Rockville, Maryland at the 2024 Capitol Audio Fest. I am being told there are over 125 rooms this year, which makes it the largest Capitol Audio Fest ever. Today I'm in front of Lucas, who happens to be the mad scientist of this brand new creation, the Horizon 360. And as you know by now, I have owned the MK1 version, the predecessor to this brand new DAC, and I have been completely floored by it. Every single time that I have inserted that DAC in my system, I feel that I am in this submersive feeling of musicality, this analog-like presentation that very few DACs are capable of pulling off. Lucas, thank you for being on my channel again. And tell us a little bit about this brand new Horizon 360. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Jay. Good morning, America. For me, it's afternoon. I just flew in from Poland, from Europe, and I'm very happy that I made it for the debut of our Horizon 360. As the name suggests, it's not merely a Horizon 2. The 360 is like a suggestion that we are immersed in the 360-degree cloud of music. And
interesting.
Horizon, as by definition, is 360, especially when I was standing in the center of Atlantic Ocean on one of my journeys, and I thought about Horizon. It was really circular, and that's you can only see it on the ocean. Anyway, back to the DAC. It's been almost 3 years since the debut of Horizon. And during these 3 years, our R&D doesn't stop. Our brains are spinning the day and night, and we are coming up with ideas. We try to gather the ideas for the future, and when enough ideas accumulates, we put it into the new facelift, but it's really internal change that makes it even more musical, even more liquid, and even less digitally tiring, as you might call it. So we are very proud. I hope that on this minimalistic, simple, yet very elegant system, you will hear and appreciate what we have done to the Horizon.
What's the new MSRP of this unit?
This is 55,000 euros. That translates to something close to 60 in US. So it went up a little bit, but it must reflect the increase of cost that we have. We are not increasing it just for just because we can, but we do it reluctantly, and we've never increased any prices in the past. So this is the first time, and so we are still staying in the price range of quite expensive, but yet not yet stratospheric, because we don't spend budget on bling and Gucci kind of decoration. It's all inside for the music.
And don't get me started with crazy pricing of these new DACs that are being offered for $300,000. I'm glad to see that you're creating a huge value here, price performance proposition. But let's not forget one thing you're doing, which very few other DAC manufacturers do, which is the option to upgrade the Horizon.
Yes, upgrade or trade in. We try to preserve people's value, people's investment.
So important.
So for it doesn't depreciate as quickly as other digital gimmicks. This is a solid piece of real estate that should stay with you for years and years.
Yep. And
you can leave it in your will, of course.
If you are a person who loves to play music, stream music, you have local files, you have all of this type of stuff, because the convenience is high for you, right? And that's the most important thing. I'm going to tell you this, Lampizator in general, since my ownership of this, I had the Lampizator Pacific 2 actually in my early days, yes, the gold one that you made, and then moved on to the Horizon, and obviously I'm going to bring on the 360. I never felt left behind, excuse me, that's what I meant to say. I never felt as if like I needed to start changing DACs every year, because typically, as you know, same thing with cell phones, the digital domain, digital in general, moves rapidly. So there's always a new one at next year, the next best music server, the next best DAC. So I like what they're doing. I like the fact that they're not changing product every year. And even if they are replacing it 3 years later, right, the original Horizon, they're not leaving you behind. So keep that in mind when you're buying a DAC. It is always important to understand the upgrade path, so you're not dumping your money into something that will be obsolete in no time.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I invite everybody to try and listen in room 819.
819, if you want to hear the Horizon 360 and you're a buyer of this level of performance, come to room 819. All right, moving on to another great product here in room 819 at Capitol Audio Fest. And these are the brand new VR30 Schweikert speakers, which you have never seen before. This level of craftsmanship, the look, the feel, the premium look that it has, and I'm sure the sound that comes with it. So I have here Damon, who's going to talk to us about this beautiful speaker. Thank you for being on my channel again.
Thank you for
Appreciate
coming.
that.
I appreciate it.
Tell us about what you've created here.
Well, we've had we've had a long line of history with the VR line. It's our oldest running line in the reference loudspeakers, and for the greatest time, we have had a kind of a hole in our line as far as price points. The VR line prior to this started at about $75,000 and went up from there. And we've had a big demand from customers that want that kind of performance, the detail, the impact, the spatialness that we do, but at a price that's much more attainable. And so this is benefiting from all that trickle-down technology from our Ultra line and more expensive VR.
It reminds me a lot of the Ultra. I agree with that. When I look at it in the rear, I see some adjustments. Tell us a little bit about the rear.
So the standard price, this comes in at $49, and that comes with a rear tweeter, and it's a 4-way. But the one we see here has our foundation hybrid bass system, which we've been doing for about 20 years. This is 4th generation, and so it's been refined over the years. And it basically is we're all about getting flat performance in your room, not just in the anechoic chamber. So to do that, we developed a system that it's an analog passive network in there driving the woofers, but we put an amplitude control so you can get it level in the room. That's the biggest challenge most people have.
Correct.
Is the bass.
The bass, yes.
And when it's wrong, you can't enjoy the system. So this corrects for that.
What size drivers are these?
These are 6.75, I believe.
Okay.
I can't remember the actual metric.
Right. Mid-range, 7-inch, and then the mid-range drivers.
6-inch mid-range, yeah.
6-inch, and that would be a soft dome, or
it's a beryllium tweeter.
Beryllium tweeter.
Same as we have in the Ultra line, all the way up to our flagships.
And they are, again, $49 for the passive version and $59 for the active version.
That's correct.
Obviously, the active version would be the one that I personally would go for because I like the tweakability. Many of you love to insert subwoofers. I'm not knocking them. If you guys love subs, great. But I just like to have it in my speaker so that I can, do as I wish. And sometimes I feel like when you add subs, it almost becomes a more difficult task. To integrate and also to start messing with dials and buttons and things like that. I'm in my case, I've had songs that sound phenomenal. Then the next one is too boomy, so I got to turn down the subs. The next one it's not enough. So I like to see it here. The way you have it integrated in the speaker for me is better in the way to do it. So great price performance proposition. I got to tell you, when I look at it, it definitely reminds me of the top level speakers that you have.
Thank
the Ultra 9. The 7s, I believe, right? And it has the same premium look. What's the finish, the name of this finish?
So this finish is Porsche Chalk.
Oh, wow.
It's a new finish. We're showing it for the first time. And, part of the element of von Schweikert is, we have our bespoke finishes, and customers have the option of picking whatever finish they like, and we do it in this high-end.
And most importantly, made in America.
Right. 100%.
Made in the U.S. We got to throw that in there. There's no Chinese stuff here.
100%.
Made in the U.S.
Southern California.
Southern California built, 100% U.S. made, okay? So if you have any interest in hearing these brand new von Schweikert VR30s, come to room 819 at Capitol Audio Fest. But no system is finished without the proper amplification, and this is why I have Gary Leeds here, who is the importer of these magnificent amplifiers, pure Class A amplifiers. Gary, welcome back to my channel. I appreciate your time here, and of course, my audience is eager to know about these amplifiers.
So Jay, a couple things before we start. I know these are a little small for you, okay, but they gotta, I know it's but you're getting a little older.
Yes, I am.
And I sort of think it's time for these things to visit the lab, don't you?
Maybe so.
It's the
always a possibility.
Everything's possible. All right, so all's good. Thank you, everybody. Before I talk about our amplifiers a little bit, I want to pay a little homage to Damon and the synergy that's been created between our electronics and his loudspeakers. We met a couple years ago. I've been getting increasingly more involved with the company because it's a company with enormous potential. It has the ability to compete with the big guys, and yet very few folks have had the opportunity to really hear it. So I hope that everybody will come by 819 today to hear this incredible new VR.
I think these are going to be showstoppers right
Yeah,
here.
it's just price, performance,
Yes.
and a little to the point about what you were talking about, the Ultra 7.
Mm-hmm.
The code name for this project when Damon started developing it was the Mini 7.
Oh, okay.
Because the 7s have the 3 woofers. So
Got
if you
it.
take a look at it.
Yes.
In terms of its design approach,
It
which
resembles.
is high power, small, long excursion woofers that really hit hard and go down to 20 cycles.
Gotcha.
So this is the Mini 7. We of course called it the VR because that's famous. So I had some fun working with that. I also want to shout out, we're working with a new engineer after many years.
Okay.
And his name is Mr. Stephen Norber. And many of you will know Stephen from Prana Fidelity. And he is really the unheralded, amazing speaker engineer. And we are just so excited to have him partnering with us. And he and Damon got together to collaborate to create this new
Oh,
vision.
wow.
So there's a lot happening.
A lot
at
of a lot more than
Audio,
meets the eyes,
and-
actually.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so for me, to have the honor of being
Good.
involved with that's great. I also want to shout out Lucas and Fred, my long-term colleagues,
Yep.
because they were the ones who actually helped me launch Westminster. They said to me, why don't you come along? We have a room, and it's in DC. This is 3 years ago, and we'll make a spot for you because these amplifiers, we really love them.
Yeah, they've always
So-
sound phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, you know, having that partnership and being able to kind of ride on the coattails of what Lucas has created and what Fred and Rob has given us is just great. So back to the REIs. Okay, the REIs are a Class A amplifier in a small form factor. Very high power, very low heat. Now this is kind of contradictory to what people think about when you see
Class A.
yeah, and for example, in Jay's labs,
My big Griffins, yep.
the big Griffins, and they're
Yep.
awesome amplifiers. But we saw an opportunity when I first found this brand, and Angus said, why don't we try to promote it in America to bring something for guys who just couldn't have the nuclear power plant in the living room.
Right.
So I call this living with sound. But these are absolutely no compromise amplifiers. Today, basically a nominal 4-ohm load, we're putting out 200 watts per channel. And for those guys who have the big rigs, Jay,
Yep.
we bring in 4 monoblocks. We call them quadra-blocks, and we bridge them together, and then we go to 800 watts
Oh, wow.
to 4 ohms. So actually 4 times the power. Now this is from the genius of Angus. And the original amplifiers were designed bridged, the very first pair. But when Angus and I talked, we said, let's just start with the 2 because we're trying to see where we can minimize the footprint and maximize the performance.
Gotcha.
So these amps are 33.9 a monoblock pair.
Okay.
And of course you want to do bridged, you just double it.
There is no stereo version of this at this time, right?
No, there's no
the mono.
stereo,
$33,000, yes.
But I can drop a little hint here
Okay.
for folks who want to get into the Westminster line on a more approachable basis. Angus and Felix just spent the whole last month. They actually shut production down. We're going to be bringing out at the end of the first quarter in the new year an integrated version
Interesting. Good,
of
good.
the Class A
Class
dual
A.
mono
Oh, wow.
DC design.
Okay.
And it'll be a combination of the Quest preamp and this, just with a slightly lower power output print. But it'll also have a pre-out, so you can actually do vertical bi-amping with the top, smaller power integrated piece on the mids and highs, and then put a pair of REIs on the lows. And that's going to be kind of the low to mid 30s price point.
Got it.
It's going to be an amazing product. So we're pretty excited about that. And we're not sure when we'll show it, but it will be coming in the new year.
Exciting things coming from your brands, of
100%.
course. Anything else for my viewers that you
The
may want to
last
add?
but not least, I want to just give a shout out to the Masterbuilt cabling we have here. This is an innovation between Damon's dad and an aerospace engineer from Detroit named Nang. And he actually formulated under NDA for us from an aerospace company a certain kind of copper cabling. And he and Albert together developed this sound. And it's also one of those unsung heroes of the high-end audio. You know, it's not the big glossy full page thing, but for people who want tremendous performance and value, the Masterbuilt cable. And I would just add that we internally wire everything in a von Schweikert speaker with this cabling.
Oh, wow.
So
Interesting. Okay.
it's power, it's really from the amplifier out all the way to the voice coil. That's the voicing.
Awesome.
So there's a synergy
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
So, and last but not least, small green computer. with their unbelievable digital front-end streaming system, and there we have what we think is a great system for the folks to enjoy at the show.
Well, there you have it. If you want to hear a very, very ultra high-end system at Capitol Audio Fest, make sure you come visit room 819 here. Okay, you're not going to be disappointed, and I hope you are subscribing and liking this video. Let's come back with more footage from other rooms. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.